The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, it's Rod Eccles.
And a good Wednesday morning to you. Hump day it is. It is hump, well, that's how Yoda would say it. Hump day. Hump day it is. Yeah, for all of you people out there who are Star Wars nerds. Yes, it is I coming to you live from the Bunkerized studio this March the number 22 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. It is a pleasure to be with you this morning. I'm going to start off right off the bat to let you know, if you paid attention to this program yesterday, you know I made a prediction. And that prediction, my God, did that prediction come true? Even I was surprised about how right I was. Now, that prediction simply was that I said that if you paid attention to the major talking heads after this, talking heads, not eggs, heads after this program, I told you exactly what they would be talking about, what they would spend the bulk of their time talking about. And it was a bunch of BS stuff. And sure enough, there it was. They were talking about, again, Rush Limbaugh was big on the hacking thing. There was no hack. There was, we know that there were FISA court warrants issued in order to wiretap Donald Trump's tower before he was even the nominee. But Rush spent about 2 hours total on that. And then here came Sean Hannity talking about tax credits and all sorts of other government incentives for health care. I told you this is what they were going to be on. That was exactly what they were going to talk about yesterday. But I was surprised about exactly how right I was. Now, have I begun to really know these people out there, or do I know these people? Now, understand, I'm not putting them down. Folks, I'm not ripping them apart. I'm telling you that you've got to pay attention that you're being you're being fed, false goods here. These are false flags. Not false flags in the sense that they're lying. Rush and Sean and Howie Carr, they're not lying. But they're obfuscating on the facts and the truth and what is really going on. I mean, really, Sean Hannity talking, if you want to talk about freedom, you want to talk about constitutionality and getting the government off of your back, why would you advocate for government-sponsored health savings accounts and tax credits for Why not just advocate and tell the congressman, because he has them on his show all the time. He's got Ryan and Rand and all the other congressmen and senators on his program on a regular basis. Why doesn't he tell them that the American people just want the government out of their back pocket, period? You know, forget the tax incentives, just get the government out of health care. No. He's all about this repeal and replace. I told you this was going to happen. The establishment was going to want, and you're probably saying, Rod, you're saying Sean Hannity is establishment? Pay attention, folks. Yes. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing? No. Sean Hannity, I've never met him personally, but I like Sean. He's a good guy. I think he's very honest. But I think when it comes to wanting smaller government, now he says he wants smaller government, but he's not consistent with that. Now, I don't know if he realizes that or not. My bet is that he doesn't. So I'm going to tell him. You're not being consistent, Sean. You want small government, but you want government to have in the laws on the books, giving people having tax incentives in the tax code doesn't mean smaller government. It means bigger government, because now they got to have the agents to go around making sure people aren't cheating on those taxes and telling them lies. Whereby, if you just told all the senators, hey, you know what? Now I will give Sean this. He has taken to task a number of congressmen about, look, why have you guys been sitting on your collective asses for the past 6 or 8 years? You've had all these years and chances to get Obamacare repealed. You've already had repeal bills. Why is this one taking so long now that you actually have a chance of getting it passed? Now, I have heard them ask that question before. I've heard him ask it more than once. But what I don't understand is with him asking that, and on the flip side saying, well, hey, why don't you just why can't you all agree to, health savings accounts and tax credits for individuals and small, why does that always have to be in there? That's my first question. Why does that got to be in there? Why does a government feel it needs to get involved? And it's not just Hannity. I mean, for crying out loud, on Twitter, I cannot believe the so-called conservative people on Twitter who these are people who say that they're conservative. They point to certain parts of the UK and the Swedish healthcare system that they want to implement here. Well, it works over there. We should put it here. You're a conservative? You're advocating keeping... Folks, this is so invasive. This is what I've been trying to tell you. We've gotten to the point where even when we have even conservatives, people who really truly believe that they're conservatives, not rhinos, but they truly believe that they're conservative, they believe now that you've got to have the equivalent of small government is government that has a few regulations but still has their hand in the pot. So to them, it is unthinkable to pull government out. I put out there, just to see what kind of response I get, but I actually believe this, is that we should, and I've told you this, we should dump Medicare and Medicaid, period. Except for people who are currently using it and who are about to get on it, we should dump it. Just totally, don't replace it, just dump it. And I cannot tell you all over social media how many... the types of responses that I've gotten calling me cruel and, this is cruel and unusual punishment. How is it cruel not to have government involved in my health care? My mother is on Medicare. She doesn't have a choice. She doesn't have a choice about what types of coverage that she gets. She's stuck with the government system, as is every senior citizen. Now, how is giving people choices the equivalent of being cruel? I'm still trying to figure this out, but we're being brainwashed left and right, folks. You need to shake off the fog. Shake it off. God, please shake it off. This is serious. This is serious as a heart attack moments here, folks. I mean, this is it is insane that anybody would want the government to be involved in such a personal, life-affirming thing as your health care. Government, there is no kind of government that is intended and built to be able to do that accurately and to be able to do that efficiently and to be able to do that humanely. It doesn't matter if it's capitalism, communism, socialism. No government can do that. None. Because nobody can take better care of you than you. Nobody can take better care of your family than your family. Government is not your family. Government is made up of a bunch of people who don't even know anybody in your family. So how the hell are they going to really care about you? They don't. It's their job just to push the paper and to make sure that you've dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's. That's it. They don't care. And it's not that they're inhuman or inhumane. Sure, to a certain degree, most of the government employees probably do care, but not to the level that you do. And if you don't believe me, I mean, do you really honestly care? I mean, do you care as much as your neighbor cares about your neighbor's parents? Well, no, you don't. And that doesn't make you mean or cruel or inhuman. It makes you very human. That's just a natural aspect of life. Plain and simple. And let me give you an example. If somebody you know that is not a family member, not a close family member, dies, do you cry? Do you feel a huge sense of loss? No, you say, oh, I feel sorry for the family. Prayers go out to the family. And that's really the extent of your mourning. If somebody close to you or in your family dies, what happens? Oh, yeah, you're at the funeral. You're bawling and wailing. You feel a huge sense of loss. Now, since you don't have a huge sense of loss for the other person, it's not in your family, does that make you a bad person? No, because otherwise we'd never get anything done because we'd be in mourning permanently every time we heard somebody died. Oh, Joe Blow, 4 blocks over, died yesterday. Oh, God, you can't believe it. He's gone. You didn't know him. Why would you do that? There is no sense of loss to you. There is loss, yes, but there's no sense of loss to you when Joe Schmo 4 blocks over dies. So why do you think government or anybody in government is going to care for you the way you would care for you? They don't know you. If you died, they would not feel a sense of loss. And they would keep doing their job without skipping a beat. It's not that they don't care. It's just that you are not a part of their world. And thus, if there is nobody a part of your world on such a if you're not a part of somebody's world on such a personal issue, why would you want to be involved in it? Well, you only want to be involved in it if you want to be able to what? Control people. And I am so shocked and surprised and pissed that Hannity missed this. And he continues to miss it on a daily basis. Frankly, yeah, granted, I'm not nowhere as big as Hannity's, his listenership. I'm trying to grow the show so I can be as big, so people all over the place will listen to this. We don't need government involved in our healthcare. It needs to get out. It needs to get out of the healthcare business, period. I mean, hell, folks, they can't even run the VA system properly. Even when just about everybody in America knows that the government has screwed up the VA system, they still can't get their act together to run it right. And you think they're going to be able to take over the health care of 320 million people when they can't even do it for a few million? I mean, this is just, it's inept. It's insanity. It's crazy. And folks, I'm telling you, you got the talking heads out there that seem to be the perfect. Now, I'm not lobbing any accusations. I'm not saying they're being paid or threatened or anything else by government officials. I'm just saying they're following the government mantra that the government needs to be involved. It's just that one side says that, no, we're smart enough to run it, so we're the ones that should have it. And the other side says, no, we're the smart ones, so we're the ones that should make the law on how it's to be run, and we're going to run that. And I don't hear anybody. I hear very few people on either side saying, no, government shouldn't even be involved in it at all. Hell, you get people like Sean Hannity who still wants government involved. And I'm telling you, that is a bad mistake. Never do it, because look how difficult it is to kick government out of your personal life once they worm their way in. They've been at this for 8 years, and now when they have the chance to actually do something and actually remove government from our daily lives, they cannot agree. And I'm not talking about the Democrats. I'm talking about the Republicans. They cannot agree how best to get out of your life. Well, it's very simple. You just repeal Obamacare. You don't replace it.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
(603) 835-3226. That is the call-in number for you to join in. You know, one of the holidays for today, yes, I think I'm going to do this on a daily basis. Today is National Sing Out Day. It's also National Goof Off Day. So if you're at work or at school today and you kind of goof off, you just look at your boss or you look at your teacher and say, well, today is a holiday. It's a national holiday. It's National Goof Off Day. Yeah, it's also World Water Day. Yeah, yesterday was full of holidays, but today is not. It's just those three plus this one. So you have National Goof Off Day, National Sing Out Day, where you go do karaoke today. Today's the real day to do it because it's the holiday for it, and it's World Water Day. I have no idea what the World Water Day. Whatever. That's a UN thing. But there's one more holiday. There's only 4 holidays today. I mean, yesterday there was a plethora of holidays, but today there's only 4. The 4th one today is As Young as You Feel Day. Yeah, that's what it's called. So if you're, does anybody remember the story of the middle-aged man that thought he was a 6-year-old girl? Well, he claimed to be I think I'm a 6-year-old little girl. You're a 45-year-old overweight man. I'm a 6-year-old girl. This is where this transgender crap is coming. But folks, there's a story today that has got the world in a tizzy. And this is it. The Kiwi weightlifter. There's a Kiwi weightlifter has made history as the first transgender athlete to represent New Zealand and came away with a win. However, the victory has been slammed by other competitors. Well, of course, because he was a man. A man competing against women in weightlifting. He's 39 years old, and he won the women's over 90 kilogram division at the Australian International Competition in Melbourne over the weekend. But the win has caused a stir, with some believing she had an unfair... Believing? Of course she had an unfair advantage because she was a he. The name of the transgender is Laurel Hubbard. His combined total of 268 kilograms was nearly 20 kilograms better than a Samoan runner-up. No, I know it's just kind of funny. And first of all, that another female weightlifter was Samoan, and we just don't we have the new well, Samoans aren't known to be petite people, right? I mean, they're not really petite. But anyway. Isn't a Kiwi? Isn't that a New Zealander? Yeah. Now, for being I don't know when he decided that he was a woman, but he hasn't. It doesn't look like he's gone through any surgeries because he doesn't have a chest. So this is the whole deal with this. This stuff is. I think some people are going to find themselves on the outs with this. I think this is something that it is going to even take some of the on the left to rethink their position. So you got to wonder. I mean, so today, over the I don't know how long he's decided that he was a woman, but today or over the weekend he was a woman. He felt he was now. What if he decides that you know what? I'm going to stop taking these female hormone pills and I'm going to become a man again. I feel like a man. Is that all it takes? Is just the thought to change your sex? Oh, hey, he's a transgender woman. I'm expecting him to be able to get pregnant any day now. Yeah, I mean, I think he should. Oh, I'm sorry. We're supposed to call him she, her. Well, then she should be able to bear a child. Oh, wait, she's barren. Yeah, is that what they're going to say? I'm transgender barren. I cannot birth children. Really? A man competing in a woman's game. Unbelievable.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
By the way, that's not he's not the first transgendered female to win in female competition. And the way things are going, he's not going to be the last. Now, evidently, there was not too long ago, a 17-year-old boy who decided that he was a girl, completed an undefeated season by winning controversial Texas State girls wrestling title. And this is here. Now the female, the he-she weightlifting, powerlifting champion, well, that was over in Australia. This is a 17-year-old boy, born a boy, decides in high school that he's a girl, competes on the girls' I didn't even know girls had wrestling teams. I don't recall in my high school being a female wrestling at all. I don't ever remember a girl even wanting to wrestle. It's not a girl thing to want to do. Look, girls like sports too. Yes, on rare occasion you'll get the girl that wants to play football or wants to play baseball. Yeah, we had girls, girls softball teams and girls basketball teams. That's a little bit different. It's rare to find a girl that wants to play football or wrestle, which is why there aren't female teams in high school and of some sports, and because girls aren't interested in doing it. Not because they can't, because they're not interested in it. So you have this 17-year-old boy who decides that he's a transgender girl, and it's getting to the point where these guys don't even bother looking like females. He's got a male haircut. He doesn't look like a girl. And everybody's up there smiling. Well, ladies, this boy just beat you. And it looks like another boy came in second place. So the gold and silver winners were males, and the it's amazing, folks. Amazing that this stuff that we're allowing this stuff to percolate and perpetuate. It's, at some point. Now, I do believe at some point before our Lord and Savior comes back, I believe at some point, it may take 100 years, it may be the year 2100. I believe at some point we're gonna wise up and say, this is or we're gonna get I don't think we'll ever get the ability to do this, but either we're gonna wise up and say, no, you're not a woman, you were born a guy, and that's what you are, you're a guy. Or we're gonna figure out how to manipulate somebody's DNA after they are born to make them into a real female, in which case then everything changes, because then you'll be able to have you won't need to take female hormones. You'll have all that stuff within you, and vice versa. Girls who want to be guys won't things will just automatically begin to grow where they're supposed to grow, and not grow where they're not supposed to grow, depending on what your sex is. I don't think we'll ever get to that point. But I think we'll more likely get to the point where we'll say, this was kind of, and don't think that we can't do that, because we used to think that cigarettes were healthy. We used to think there were a lot of things that were healthy that were legal at one point. Coke. Where do you think Coca-Cola got its name from? So we can change. We can realize something is not healthy and not right and want to change it. Fine. So at some point, I think we're going to get to that point with this transgender. And look, I know I have a good friend who's going through this, and I'm not confused about it. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm not saying that these people shouldn't have rights, like everybody else has rights, regular rights, not special rights, regular rights. But for crying out loud, we've got to be able to cut this off and say, well, you know what? You're still DNA-wise, you're still a guy. Or DNA-wise, you're still a girl. There's just no two ways about it. Sorry. And otherwise, if it's where do we draw the line? Where do we draw? Don't forget, we have this. Today is as young as you feel day. So I mean, where do we draw the line? Are we now going to have some sort of trans ageism? You know, somebody comes around. Well, you know, I really believe that I'm a 12-year-old. Well, but you're a 30-year-old guy, so you think you're a 12-year-old boy now? Does that mean you get to go? What 12 years old? What are you in 6th grade, 7th grade? So you get to go back to middle school? By the way, there were a bunch of stories. I don't know why I was even thinking of this yesterday. I had and there were a lot more stories than I recall. I had originally recalled, but there are a ton of stories in this country alone. Now, I'm not talking about Europe or Asia or Australia, just talking about in the good old US of A, not even Canada, but in the good, we've got a serious problem here. Over the past 10 years, I have counted, and this is just the stories that I could find really quick that have been reported. I have found over 55 reported cases in the last 10 years of adults, mostly men, in their 20s, getting away with going back to high school as teenagers. In one particular extreme case, you had a 27-year-old man who went back to high school as a 15-year-old boy, sophomore. And he didn't get caught until he nearly graduated again. He'd gone through nearly 3 years of high school. And he was almost 30 years old. And he looked like a teenager. And there are cases where this happens. And so, I mean, are we supposed to punish them for this? Now, a lot of these cases came forward where these people get arrested for a couple of main reasons. One, they might end up with a girlfriend or boyfriend. That's statutory rape if they had sex with them. Or two, because they're using the stolen identity laws, identity theft laws to catch them and arrest them and throw them in jail. I guess if they're, I don't know if they're using somebody else's established identity, I suppose that would be identity theft. But what if they just make up somebody? Is that really identity theft? If they just make up somebody and they get? I don't know how you do it, but evidently some of them have done it. There was one case in Pennsylvania where the person was the man was, and there was another case too where he was an immigrant. He was from Eastern Europe, immigrant, and he came to the USA, and he decided that he was going to start over and go through American high school, and he eventually got caught, and he looked very young. I mean, he was supposed to be a senior in high school, but for crying out loud, his picture made him look like he was a freshman. But I guess, he's as young as it's as young as you feel day. There was another case where this young man he was 25 years. You probably heard about this one. He's 25 years old when he got caught, but he had been playing on the high school varsity basketball team for 2 years. They had to forfeit every single game because he was an illegal player. It's things like that happen. It's just amazing stuff. I don't know. Look, I didn't have a bad time in high school. I didn't. I know a lot of people's experiences in high school was terrible. Mine wasn't terrible. But even if I could, there's no way in hell I would go back to high school. I have no idea why people want to. I just would not, especially today. If I could get away with going back to high school today, I would not do it. I would not. I don't know why anybody would. Hey, and I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there right now who are in their 20s who are pretending to be teenagers in high school. And most of them will eventually get caught. But hey, there's a bunch of teenagers out there now that look like they're in their 30s or 40s. So, I mean, one way or the other, people, I guess you're only as old as you look. Right? Isn't that, oh, geez, we've been through this before. The Billy Crystal Saturday Night Live character. It's not how you feel, darling. It's how you look. that counts. Erdogan. And for those of you who don't know who Erdogan is, Tayyip Erdogan is the president of Turkey. And there are a lot of people worried about this guy. I mean, Turkey's supposed to be a democratic nation, but he's done a lot of things over the past couple of years that have been anti-democratic. Seizing power, and he's becoming a dictator is what a lot of people are afraid of. But he warns Europeans will not walk safely if current European attitude towards refugees and Middle Easterners, Muslims, persist. Germany wants to. Again, Merkel is starting to wise up and shake off the fog, and is starting to smarten up about some of the immigrants or refugees, as well as some of the other European countries like the Netherlands, and the Dutch are wising up to this stuff, and the Swedes are wising up to this kind of, and he's not liking it. Erdogan is not liking it. He wants there to be an invasion of Europe. Now understand this: they let this guy into the European Union. Turkey is part of the EU. Anybody realize that? And he's threatening other EU members. That's kind of like the U.S. saying, well, you know what? If with NATO, it's kind of like the USA telling France, you know what? You're a member of NATO, France. But if you don't do what we tell you, then you're not going to be safe walking your streets. I mean, that's asinine. You're supposed to be an ally. You are threatening your allies? Does anybody else? I have said this from day one when the Europeans were allowed the Turkey to enter. I said that would be a mistake. That was dumb. Why the hell would they do that? Because they want to be open and considerate and caring and open-minded and open. And look, the reality. Sure, it feels good. It may feel good to think that you're not bigoted, you're not racist, you can be open-minded, but that's also stupidity. Knowing that these people, and Turkey, they're not friends with most of the West. They're not going to be your friend. Just ask the freaking Greeks, for crying out loud. Do you realize that the EU has been tougher on Greece than they ever have been on Turkey? Now, granted, the Greeks don't know how to control their pocketbooks or spending, but that's the socialistic nature of the Greeks, just like any other socialistic-leaning country is having trouble right now in Europe. Spain had the same issue. Italy had the same issue. All these socialistic type of mindsets got them into their governments into financial trouble. Well, Greece was no different. It's just that Greece did more socialist stuff than most of the other countries did. So they got in trouble bigger and faster. Fine. But they did not hate on the rest of Europe the way Turkey does. And let's face it, the Greeks and the Turks have never gotten along. And you're gonna bring them together? I don't understand the sheer stupidity. I get that you want world peace so bad, but are you wanting this so-called world peace so badly that you are willing to ignore the reality and the truth of people who do not want peace? Plain and simple. Inviting people who don't want peace into your neighborhood isn't going to get them to be peaceful. That has never happened in the history of mankind. It's called Trojan horseism or Trojanism, where and in this particular, just like any other the original Trojan horse, what did they do? They were so arrogant. They go, these people, they want peace, and they gave us this gift. So they rolled the gift of peace right in their gates, inside their walled city, where they were proceeded to be destroyed from within. This is the same thing. They're inviting under the guise of peace. Yeah, we're trying to be helpful and peaceful, and these are peaceful refugees that we're allowing to come into our country, and they let them in, and now they're destroying all of those countries from within. I mean, talking about and this is a guy, you got a president of one of these countries, the leader of one of these countries, Turkey, who's now openly threatening you. He's threatening us. Look, if you cut off, because they want to reduce the number, they want to kick some refugees out, reduce the number of new refugees coming in. They want to ban certain things in some countries, like burqas and that type of thing. In some countries, like Sweden and Germany, they're getting, they're realizing what's happening, and so they want to curtail what's happening. And Erdogan of Turkey says, well, if you guys have that kind of mindset, well, you're not going to be safe in your own streets in your own country anymore. How do you do that to your friend, your ally? How do you say that? You just don't let these people in. By the way, what other talking head is bringing you that news?
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
The high school thing, I understand the wanting to be young again. I mean, 99.9% of the population really wants to get physically old. Most of us really don't care about the number. We just don't want to. We don't want what usually comes with the number. Aches and pains and arthritis and other age-related ailments, and we don't like to, we remember being able to stay up till 2 a.m. and then getting up at 6 or 7 a.m. and being full and fresh-faced. Can't do that when you're like 40 or 50 or 60. You're dragging if you do that. But when you remember your college days, your college age, you can go out and you can rave all night long and then get up and go to work or go to school class and be all right. You can't do that when you're 50, 60, 70 years old. So I get the even you'll notice a difference when you hit your 30s. I get the fact how people, for whatever reason, human beings, a lot of us, a lot about humans peaks, physically and mentally, many aspects of your mental capacity. A lot of that stuff that is within humanity peaks in your teens and 20s. I mean, it's early. I mean, it peaks before you even know what to really do with it. And when you get older and you realize you know what to do with it, you're way past your peak. It's not a slam on anybody. It's just, physiological and biological fact. There's a lot of aspects about human beings that peaks in your teens and your 20s before you even really know what to do. Well, I mean, obviously there was a point in man's history where man didn't live to be, 60, 70, 80, 100 years old. They were dying in their 30s and 40s, so they had to peak early in order to perpetuate the species. But as we have been able to improve our conditions and live longer and longer, biology hasn't kept up and with us. I think it's trying. I think biology is trying. Because if you look at kids today, I mean, you get some of these college kids, they're 20 to 24 years old, 20 to 25 years old, and they look like they're 12 or 13. And there are a lot of men that are 20 to 25 years old that don't have facial hair naturally. It's like puberty has been postponed for them. I mean, it does. It just, and in some cases, and this is a biological fact. In some cases, men don't hit full. They begin puberty, but they don't hit full puberty until sometime in their 20s. So a lot of guys, especially if they're in college still, college age, they don't have to really shave every day. And then for some reason they hit like 28 or 30, and then everything changes and they get the full facial hair and they got to shave and every day and things like that. So I think nature is trying to catch up with our longevity, generation by generation. I think there's some species of animals that live to be in their 100. What is the turtles? Those giant turtles that can live to be like 200 years old or something like that. So, I don't know if man will ever get there, but at that age. But I think living to be, 80, 90, and 100 years old is pretty evident. Well, that means biology has got to slow down a little bit and catch up to our longevity, which means at some point, an 18-year-old is not going to be a real adult, physiologically speaking, the way things are going. I'm not making this stuff. This is just biology, and biological scientists are noting this kind of stuff. That's all. Anyway, we got the Intel report coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere.
America is America because it is so American. The children, they are the future of children, and she loves the children. Diversity is diverse when diversity is diversified. For a future you can see, for a future that brings with it all the hopes of tomorrow. By doing everything we did yesterday, we need a leader, we need a champion, we need her.
Vote for me! It's enough now! Give me it! It's mine! I want it! Just give me it! I want it now!
Stop asking questions and just give it to her already. Or you're a sexist, racist.
Paid for by criminals and idiots for Hillary Clinton, because let's face it, you'd have to be one or the other to vote for this complete monster.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Yes, indeed, it is I, your lovable host, Rod. Welcome to all you ecclesiastites and liberty lovers all across the globe as we continue to broadcast hour number 2 here on this March number 22 day in the year of our Lord of 2017. It would be 2017 for those of you less initiated. It's also Hump Day. It's also You Are the Age As You Feel Day. Yeah, that's the holiday today. Yeah. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number should you wish to join us. Understand that yesterday I told everybody to go out there and to listen in to the big talking heads and listen for some of the talking points I said they were going to talk about. And boy, did I hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I listened to them all too. And I went and I didn't realize how right I was because then I tuned into a little bit of Savage and a little bit of Levin and a couple of others. And, you know, all the big talking heads said exactly as I told you they were going to. Now, do they all have marching orders? I don't think you can really say that. I don't think you can say Mark Levin is really listening to a bunch of rhinos because he doesn't like rhinos any more than anybody else. Who's a real conservative. And Rush and Sean Hannity don't get marching orders from these people either. But I find it amazing that they're all talking about the same damn thing over and over again every single day. And you can so it's not like that I was really brilliant in pointing it out. It's simply because they've been talking about the same damn thing for the last 3 weeks. So it was I was playing the odds. I guess you could say I was a gambling man. I was playing the odds. And so I know some people, well, Rod thinks he's all that smart. No, actually, I just pay attention. That's the difference. Paying attention. Because a lot of Americans just stop paying attention. And then when something old comes back, they think it's new. It's not new. They just stop paying attention. And I don't. I just keep paying attention. That's all. And speaking of paying attention, yeah, you got to pay attention now, folks, because now's the time to pay attention. Because as we do every Wednesday, and I'm so happy that we're able to do this, we have 0010 in the house to give us an intel report. And if you've paid attention to this program the last month or so, you know that this guy has this single agent for the U.S. of A., the constitutional agent, I should call him, has been dead on everything that he's brought forth to us. We've later found out he has been dead on. And really, sometimes I fear for his safety. I really do. but that's why he's a secret agent. We have 0010. Welcome back. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Rod. How are you?
Good. You're still okay. You're still in good health, right? Nobody's tracking you?
I'll be honest with you. If I'm trying to piece some stuff together, and if it were to drop, if this takes the path that I see it, yeah, I'll be in prison for a while. But then again, I mean, is it worth the cause? Is it worth it? Yeah, I believe it is. Because let's put it like this. From what I've seen of the intelligence organizations today, for the most part, the hardworking analysts, the hardworking field operatives, these individuals have the integrity, the pride, the self-respect. They have what it takes. But like I've told you before in other programs, it's the higher-ups turned into the weasels. They become these politicians where they're looking at their career down the road as opposed to what's happening now and what can be done to protect the American citizen. And it really turns my stomach. Prime example, when Director Comey was sitting there in front of the committee, and when he was asked, first Admiral Rogers was asked, how many people in your organization has the unmasking clearance? Admiral Rogers, without skipping a beat, said 20, me and 19 others. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. He nailed it. He's right. Because when I was in the agency, that's exactly how many people. But then when they go to Director Comey, his response, gee, I don't know. Now, I was writing in a notebook, some notes for my book, and I just had to drop the pen and say, excuse me, you don't what? You don't know how many people in your own agency has an unmasking clearance? Are you kidding me? He has no control over his agency. This is something that every director of every every intelligence organization should know. How many people have what kind of clearances so they can gain access to what, or how many people have this kind of authorization to be able to verify or clear the process. He doesn't know. And then when Senator Gowdy was asking him, well, what about this person? Yeah, I think so. Well, what about this person? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, oh, dude. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, right now you are a complete and utter embarrassment to the intelligence organizations. But what he did do, and here's the part, and Britt Hume brought this up last night, and I was like, he beat me by 12 hours. I can't stand Britt Hume. He brought this up, and I caught the same exact thing. And this is that Director Comey inadvertently admitted that Donald Trump was being surveilled. He admitted to the wiretapping, which is the old school way of saying surveillance. But nobody caught that. He sat there and he said, during the campaign, yes, investigation was being done on Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, because going back to July, right? I mean, he said July.
Kicker. Exactly. Here's the kicker. When they say an investigation, part of an investigation is surveillance. So therefore, Donald Trump was justified the day before, when Director Comey came right out and said, yes, there was an investigation being done. Surveillance is part of an investigation. So therefore, the current president of the United States did not lie, exaggerate, or blow anything out of proportions. But nobody other than Britt Hume and myself that I know of, hopefully there are more people within the media that caught on to that yes, the president was being surveilled. And nobody noticed this.
Well, yeah, so, I'm not going to say that most people didn't notice it, as you had so many people that didn't want to notice. They wanted to gloss over it. Because they're still out there saying today that, there was the president needs to produce proof. Well, I think, as you just mentioned, Comey already produced the proof. He said
he
it.
did.
But they're still saying, well, he needs to produce some proof.
Well, James Comey admitted it. Now, here's another thing that really got me about this whole thing. When he said that he doesn't know how many people within his own organization has the unmasking authorization, when Barack Obama was president and he did this whole thing with the intelligence organizations and clearances, we have this, well, for the most part, the intelligence organizations have this thing called compartmentalization. So basically that means, okay, well, guess what? You're a linguist or you're a translator. So you're going to take all the stuff that's coming in and you're going to translate it and you're going to put it onto this area where then you have these signals intelligence people that are doing their job. They're going to put it together with this and therefore so on and so forth. So one doesn't really know what the other one is doing. That also includes, like, let's say a mission that's going on in North Africa, intelligence gathering mission, or as opposed to an intelligence gathering mission that's going on in Central Africa, in the Sub-Sahara region. So therefore, one does not really know what the other one is doing until somebody higher up starts putting all the pieces together. Well, because of Barack Obama, compartmentalization, for the most part, is dead. Now we have a situation where you've got guys from the Coast Guard that can access intelligence information from the NSA or the CIA, when in the Coast Guard, their main priority is to stop drug trafficking, rescuing people that are stuck out in the middle of nowhere. That's their main mission. What the hell do they need to know about what's going on in the Sub-Sahara region of Africa? Nothing. This all took place because back in the 1980s, there was a Marine who had an intelligence clearance, and he started giving this intelligence stuff or information to his girlfriend. Here's the catch. His girlfriend was a Russian agent. Guess where that information was going? He got caught, and thus the whole compartmentalization process was installed. And then Barack Obama pretty much started making these walls of compartmentalization into toilet paper, where anybody just walked through. A lot has been happening, like with Edward Snowden. He turned around and he made this massive data dump on the American citizens, telling the American people that, hey, guess what? The NSA is gathering intelligence on just about everybody. Well,
we
this
know
all fell through.
They have all these wonderful server farms now, and they're building more. And didn't somebody just admit that the NSA was building another one? I mean, they've got the one that was out in Utah or Colorado, and there's one in Virginia, and that they were building another one somewhere.
Well, mind you, this whole thing happened with Snowden, okay? And this is where I have a funny feeling I might get into some trouble. After Snowden, the FBI went to FISA, and they put in a request. And FISA approved it. This was in 2013, after Snowden. And the request was that MCI Verizon, on a daily basis, hand over metadata on Verizon business accounts. This happened after Snowden.
Well, this is something that a lot of people don't realize when you have this congealing and consolidation of the telecommunications industry. And it started, for good reason. It started back when they actually broke up Ma Bell into all the baby bells. And then at that particular point in time, AT&T decided that they were going to divest itself from its local phone services so they could be a long-distance carrier. Because believe it or not, they saw something bigger than long distance back then. And I don't think they predicted this is where it was going to go. But back then, AT&T did see the advent of cellular. Now, if they were a local carrier, just for local calls, they wouldn't have been able to get so easily into the cellular business. They had to be a long-distance carrier and have a national grid. That gave them the ability to do that. Now, after After we had the divestiture and breakup of AT&T and Ma Bell, that's when we started getting all these smaller companies getting a little bit bigger, and then they started buying each other up. Now we're at the point where, what do we have? We have 3 or 4 major carriers, telecommunications companies, basically. That's it. So all of this information is being congealed into a smaller group of people, so it's easier for them to just take this data and hand it over and say, here you go, which is why the government allowed all these companies to congeal anyway. Supposedly they were supposed to stop all the monopoly stuff, right? That's what government was there for, to stop, but they allowed it. Look, folks, we still only have, if in most areas of this country, there is still a monopoly in your telecommunications industry called your cable provider. You only get one cable provider. And that's called because that cable provider has won the franchise, quote unquote franchise. So you've got one cable provider. If you're lucky, you may have a DSL like AT&T or Fairpoint or somebody coming in. And if you're even luckier, you might have Fios. Now, I know you see Fios advertised all over the place, but try punching in your zip code where you see the ad on your TV. Try punching in your zip code and see if you can get it to your house. You can't. So there is no competition. There is a monopoly. And I think that's by design because they're not letting multiple cable companies compete in a local market. You still only got one. Why? So it's easier for them to gather this information. That's why. How do we not put this together before?
Well, this FISA request that I'm speaking about was submitted to the FISA court by the FBI. And the FBI received their approval that all the information was not going to go to the FBI. It was going to go to the NSA. Now, catch number 2. The security clearance on this report is no foreign. In other words, no foreign eyes. So it was to basically gather all this information from Verizon on their business accounts, such as IBM, if that's one of their accounts, such as, let's say, Rod Eccles Industries, if that's who their account is with, worldwide. Not just within the United States, but the entire planet. If Verizon has any business contracts with another business company or another company, they have to hand over that metadata to the FBI, to the NSA on behalf of the FBI. This happened after Edward Snowden, after this whole thing happened. This approval was granted then. So I decided, you know what? I remember seeing that. I want to do something. So guess who I called in New York City? I called Trump Tower. And I asked, who is your provider for, let's say, internet? Oh, we have several providers for internet and, phone landlines and so on and so forth. I'm like, oh, so who are they? Oh, we have several, but we can't tell you which ones. I'm like, oh. Do you know how huge Verizon is in New York City, Rod?
Verizon,
it is massive.
Yeah, Verizon is huge.
In New York City alone. It's their number one provider for internet, cable, cell phone, name it. Verizon is number one. So what do you think the chances are of Verizon running lines through Trump Tower?
Yeah, of course. So there goes the notion of breaking up a monopoly. Just like I said, there are bigger. We would have been better off if AT&T still just had the monopoly on local and long distance phone service. Really, we would have been better off.
Out of that entire thing, with James Comey sitting in front of the committee, what I gathered out of that was A, you do not have full control of the FBI. You do not know who has what kind of clearance to do what and when and where. And I also gathered from that committee hearing is that, guess what? you did do surveillance on President Trump because you admitted to it. You were doing an investigation, and part of an investigation is surveillance. So there was surveillance conducted on the president, so therefore there's the proof, but is it being reported? So far, from what I've seen, only one person has reported on that, and that is Britt Hume. And right now I can't stand him because he beat me to the punch.
Well, can you hold on till after the breaks here, 0010? I'm up against the hard thing here, hard breaks.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right, hold on, folks. We're not done yet. Got a question for him I'm going to ask after the breaks.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
603-835-3226. You know, one thing that you have to understand is everything that is going on for a reason, and the stuff that you're seeing in the news is happening for a reason because they're playing a shell game with us. Even when something comes out that they're actually doing something, you don't get 99% of the media, even what we consider to be the good media, who jump onto it and cover it. And that is the case with when Comey just admitted that they were investigating Trump back in July. And that leads to another question I have that I'm going to ask 0010 as soon as we get back from this break. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is amazing stuff. Again, are you getting this from the talking heads? Nope. Call Rod now, 606-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. We are sitting here talking with my inside man, my agent 0010. And I got a question for you. It's a couple of questions. Now, with all this stuff that's going on, now we know that this is going, the Comey just admitted this is going back to July with Trump, which means that it was sometime either just before or just after the Republican nomination. And I don't have the exact date. I've tried to find the exact date, and evidently nobody has admitted the exact date that the investigation began. And of course, I don't have clearance to get, the FISA court stuff. And when you get these requests for the Freedom of Information Act requests, it could take months in order to get them if you don't have, press credentials and lawyers behind you. So it could take me months to get this stuff. With knowing that this at least began, which means it probably was in the works before July. But have you noticed that all of this Clinton investigation stuff started to decline where it's now totally disappeared? Is there some collusion with this going on to make the Clinton issues go away? Is there any scuttlebutt inside the intel industry to make the Clinton stuff go away?
Okay. First of all, the investigation on President Trump, started in July during the election. But you notice that the first FISA request that was turned down was also filed in July. Same time that the investigation on Donald Trump started. But then the request was put in again in October, and this one was approved. So therefore, that speaks volumes. That, okay, Comey said that they started an investigation on the president in July, and guess what? There was a FISA request in July. What a coincidence. Or is it? The whole thing about, in Comey's mind, the entire situation with Hillary Clinton is now put to bed, it's put to rest, it's over, it's done with, move on from there. He stood there and he said, yes, she does have a private server. Yes, she did have classified emails. Yes, she did have classified information. Yes, bunch of it was top secret. Yes, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not going to prosecute, which basically had the entire planet completely gobsmacked. But in his mind, he is beyond that now. He's now moving on to his next target, his next investigation, until something major comes up with Hillary Clinton. And mind you, I got a funny feeling something major is going to come up yet again, because there are rumors of her running for office. So therefore, that means that the Republicans are going to start gearing themselves up and play politics. Start an investigation on her. Look what she did here. Look what she did there. Oh, look what we found. So it's just a case of him moving on to his next target because that's what he was requested to do. Does that make him right? No. It doesn't make him right because, in my honest opinion, the man should not be involved in any investigations because, I hate to tell you this, America, the man is incompetent. If he doesn't know how many people he has that have this one precious, amazingly important clearance or authorization, if he doesn't know how many of his own people have that, he's incompetent. Admiral Rogers, he was asked, and he knew right off the bat.
Now here's again something. Now maybe it's just my own suspicious mind, and I don't want people to think that I'm a conspiracy nut. But let's put two and two together here. Now we were told. Now let me see if I can present this properly. We were told there was no way in hell that Donald Trump was going to beat Hillary Clinton on November 8th. Mm-hmm. And we had the lamestream media kept telling us, she's 20 points ahead, she's 15 points ahead, she's almost 30 points ahead. And you had Hillary Clinton herself in September saying, well, I can't see why I'm not 50 points ahead. So they all had this persona or this notion. They were putting forth this front that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Now, when Justice Trump was being officially nominated, we have this investigation that starts for no apparent reason, because he did nothing no differently than any of the other people who are in politics had already done, as far as meeting with the Russians and blah, 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 and that kind of. And we already had all the stuff on Obama colluding with Putin and Medvedev and everything else. So that couldn't have been the issue. What I am putting together here is I believe that their internal polls, and I have been saying this, and people were listening from the beginning, I told people that they knew that they were in trouble. Their own internal polls were telling them so. Not the stuff that they were putting out towards us, but their own internal polls were telling them that they were in trouble. They knew that Hillary was most likely going to lose. So I find it amazing that as soon as Trump won, the knives came out for all this impeachment garbage. Do you think they're trying to set this guy up for impeachment? And I say this because even the Republicans are holding up the vast majority of his confirmation appointments for his confirmation appointments for his cabinet and undersecretaries and things like that. I have never seen this in my entire life. How slow that they're moving for this stuff. Do you think they're doing this because they're setting him up? Really setting him up for impeachment, for removal from office, which means that whoever the next president is, which is most likely going to be Pence, unless they try to take him out too at the same time, well, they know that the next person is going to be more of an insider. And let's face it, folks, no, Mike Pence is not exactly an insider, but he's a lot more of an insider than Trump is. And he's going to probably want to appoint more insider people, which then protects the swamp. Am I going too far with that?
I don't think you are at all, because the Democrats have the Republicans' greatest weakness is a Democrat by the name of Maxine Waters. That woman cannot seem to keep her mouth shut to save her life. Prepare for impeachment. Oh, this is disgusting. And she goes on. This is the same person that said that the Russians invaded Korea. Wow. Anyway, and couldn't even get the name Aleppo out right. About the Russians dropping bombs on and somebody behind her had to tell her Aleppo. Yeah, that's it, Aleppo. Yeah, that's it. So this is the same person who happens to be the Republicans' greatest secret weapon because, like I said, she can't keep her mouth shut. She keeps talking about impeachment. So, of course, she's on the inside. So yeah, they are definitely trying a gun to impeach him. But here's one problem with this entire concept, and here it is. You think Donald Trump is conservative? Oh, good God. Mike Pence makes Donald Trump look like a raging lunatic liberal. That man is more conservative than the word conservative. So therefore, it would be a huge mistake on the Democrats' part that if they try or succeed in impeaching President Trump and then Vice President Pence steps into the picture and becomes the POTUS. It would be a huge mistake for them. They need to work with President Trump. They need to cooperate with him. They need to come to some kind of a negotiation or some kind of conclusion together. Work, cooperate, make it happen. Because if Pence comes in, oh no. Then the Democrats would be in a huge heap of trouble. That's my personal opinion. That has nothing to do with intelligence. It's from what I've seen and from what I have, that gut feeling of mine.
Well, I mean, I know Pence is very conservative, and I like that, but I think that they would take Ronald Reagan over a Donald Trump, because let's face it, Ronald Reagan was somewhat of an insider. You know, he was already in politics. He paid his dues, so to speak. He was a governor. Pence was a governor. Trump was nothing, and he just came out of the woodwork and became president. I mean, these people don't like that.
Hold on a second. I take exception to this, and it's not because you said it, but anybody who says this, that President Trump didn't pay his dues, really? I mean, to me, for anybody to say that, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about within the politicians and the talking heads. They are the most disingenuous knuckleheads you will ever see, because the fact is, yes, he did pay his dues. He contributed. He was working for these politicians. Hell, he helped Schumer. He helped out the Clintons. He helped out all these other politicians. He spoke on their behalf. He was part of the process as a valued bank, you might say. He was chipping in. He was there for them. And then he got tired of giving his money to help the American people, and nothing was happening. So he said, you know what? It's time I keep the money and I do something with it instead. And he did. He ran for office. So for any of these talking heads to sit there and say this disingenuous crap that he did nothing, that he's not an insider, he's on the outside looking in, well, you didn't think that when you were begging, groveling, and scratching at his legs to try to get some money out of him. You didn't think that when you asked him to speak for you. You didn't think that when he went to engagements with you. So therefore, shut up.
Well, look, I agree. They just have this club that, that he came from the outside. He wasn't within the club. He was just their money man. And this is what they always do to money people. You can pay but to be a part of the club, but you're not really a part of the club until they say so. And I think this is where people are saying where Trump is an outsider. Yeah, sure, he contributed to both sides, as most business, successful business people have done over the years. But that's where they were supposed to stay. They weren't supposed to actually throw their hat into the ring until they were asked to do so. And he wasn't asked. He just did it.
Exactly. I mean, and then they talk about him being on The Apprentice. Oh, yeah, and we all know that Al Franken was just a beaming example of seriousness and discipline when he was wearing a diaper or sitting in front of a mirror and saying, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. No, they don't, Frank. Franken, they don't like you. People really don't like you, Al Franken.
All right, well, do you think there's going to be? Is there any scuttlebutt? Is there? I mean, I guess she's really thinking about running for mayor. And my only point is that if she actually did run for mayor, if she thinks that something really nasty is going to come about, like the Benghazi stuff, and come back to try to bite her, and if she's an elected official that gives her some cover, where she's just a private citizen, she has no cover. So. I mean, all this Trump stuff is really distracting from the real issues going on out there. I mean, we've got North Korea gearing up for war. People don't know about that, I bet. And we still have the Clintons out there. Now we're hearing that, Chelsea might run at some point in like 2018 or 2020. And Clinton might run for mayor in 2018 of New York City. So is this just really running cover for the Clintons and the Obamas right now?
It's desperation. Honestly, I mean, you and I spoke a few weeks back about, the Clinton regime being dead. That's it. It's over. Well, guess what? We might be wrong, because they just refuse. It's like that. It's like that junkyard dog refused to let go of that tire it's chewing on. No, that's his tire. He won't give up that tire. He's going to chew on it until there's nothing left of it. Well, that's what the Clintons are doing, and that's what the Obamas are going to do. And it's gotten to the point, as far as the Clintons are concerned, it's gotten to the point that it's gone from serious to, oh, this is really pathetic now. This is sad and pathetic. And here's the most pathetic part. She might win if she runs for mayor of New York City. She might win.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Now, one last question. Now, is there in your investigations, is there anything that might come out over the next week or so that might be a little bit of a surprise? Now I know this might put this might put you in a little bit of trouble here. They might know stuff that you shouldn't know, but I'm just wondering if there's anything out there that might come about that might be a little bit of surprise. What area should we be paying attention to?
Take a look at businesses that have contracts with or had contracts with the president when he was in New York. They're going to be investigated too. American companies, American businesses might get investigated by the FBI. Any businesses that had connections with the president when he was a private citizen.
Well, I don't think I'd be too surprised by that, but I suppose that would be the next step for these idiots. But yeah, okay. Well, definitely that gives me some guidance. And funny you should also mention that, because California is now San Francisco and L.A. and now the state of California is looking into either canceling or preventing companies that do business with the Trump administration to build the wall. They're want to prevent them from doing business with any city in the state or the state itself. So I wouldn't be surprised, because there are a lot of companies that are obviously they put out bids, and there are a lot of companies interested in bidding on that. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But again,
they need to stop that nonsense. They need to stop that nonsense, because the fact is that there are enough Americans that are willing to fly down there on their own dime and volunteer and do it for free.
Yeah, yes, that is true. Actually, I have something in the paper pile just about that, too. But anyway, thanks so much for your report, 0010. Look forward to next week. Stay safe out there, my friend.
I will. You have a great one.
Bye-bye. We'll be back, folks.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
That the media is not covering is because they're being purposefully distracted by all this stuff is the issues that are going on with North Korea. Now, sure, crazy people are not going to attack a major enemy for fear of being destroyed, unless, of course, they feel that their backs up against the wall, they're backed into a corner, and they have nothing to lose. And I think that America has sort of done that to the crazy leaders out there with what the Clinton and Obama did to Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Yeah, Gaddafi was a nut job. He was crazy, but he was a quiet crazy guy. And sure, yeah, he was supplanting and helping, certain terrorist groups, but nothing near what Iran was doing. But he thought he could do it under the radar, and for the most part, he was pretty harmless for a while. And then Clinton and Obama decided, well, we just don't like him anymore because he's kind of being funny with the French and the British on his oil, on the Libyan oil. So let's take him out so they can get the oil. And that's what happened. They complained about Bush was Iraq was nothing but the oil. Well, what the hell do you think Libya was all about? And that was okay. Libya was okay. That was fine, but not Iraq. Libya is a far greater mess than Iraq is even now. But that's okay. That's okay. But, we have one of the things that Trump is doing that is putting a lot of countries on our enemies on notice, which is why they probably want to take us on before this happens, is that the Navy just recently had another successful test of its rail gun at shooting these types of shells out of this rail gun or cannon at over 4,500 miles an hour. I mean, that's a powerful shot. Now, what that means, and there have been other successful tests of energy types of guns, lasers, that the Navy and the Air Force have done. Now, with the added money that Trump wants to put towards the defense budget, these futuristic weapons can be live action weapons by the 20s, the next decade, which far surpasses and supplants anything else that anybody else on this planet has. Basically having drones that have laser weapons on them. Ships that don't have regular shells you have energy and rail guns that basically will form a shield over any ship group. You try to shoot something down, or try to attack from the air. You try to attack a carrier group. Well, these types of guns and shields will form shields, literally, that makes a near impenetrable dome. That means trouble for our enemies. They don't like that, obviously. Look how hard that they argued and fought against the Iron Dome for Israel. Because the Patriot missiles and now the Iron Dome in Israel, that stuff works when it's deployed. And it far exceeds anybody's expectations for it. So it becomes very worrisome for when you have these type of futuristic weapons. But in any case, that is so we're being distracted from a bunch of important stuff. Just as people don't know that Trump doesn't have the vast majority of his cabinet still not seated because Republicans have not voted on him. Why is that? Bunch of interesting stuff coming up, folks. And now this just in, getting some word that there is shots fired in Parliament. We'll find out more about that. Stay tuned, folks. We're not done yet.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever-popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. the Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an A-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. What we have going on right now, I guess, is being reported that there were shots fired outside the Westminster Parliament in the UK. Shots were fired outside UK Parliament building is currently on lockdown, and it's the House of Parliament. And on Westminster Bridge is also on lockdown because the Parliament the bridge goes right by it's right there at the Parliament basically. And what they're reporting is that there was an intruder or potential terrorist who was shot dead, but that is all I have right now. And this is from various sources going from the Huffington Post to the mirror.co.uk and CNBC are all reporting shots fired outside the UK Parliament building at Westminster Bridge. Parliament building and the bridge are currently on lockdown, and it's currently being reported that one attacker is down. That's all the information I have right now. We'll let you know as I'm trying to get some BBC information here, but nothing different as of yet. So this is the developing situation, and of course, as more information feeds in during the program, I will let you know. Heard it here first, did you? Yes, you did. Immigration provision has been cut from Obamacare rollback, and this is angering conservatives. Oh, by the way, 603-835-3226 is the call-in number here at the Rod Eccles Show, and welcome to all you wonderful ecclesiastites and liberty lovers all across the globe as we continue on with hour number 3 here. Already, fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show. Immigration provision from Reuters says that the cut from Obamacare rollback is angering conservatives. Why the hell would they even do this? Some conservatives in Washington are fuming. Were fuming yesterday after an Obamacare rollback bill was tweaked by Republican leaders to delete a provision meant to crack down on illegal immigrants getting federal health care insurance coverage. This is a mistake, folks. I told you before. This is not about simply giving us more freedom, because they don't want to do that. In reality, they don't. This is all about still keeping us under their thumb. Now let's look at this from a logical point of view. Why do you think that government should be, if you're a liberal or a moderate, why do you think government should be involved in health care? Well, because health care is a right. Says who? Why is it a right? Who says medical care is a right? It's something that has been recently invented, basically. We always had health care. No, we haven't always had medical health care. I mean, sure, they've had theories. They've done, all kinds of weird stuff back in the day to try to cure people of certain diseases. And most of that stuff did not work. I know we've got Eastern medicines too, but again, that's not something that was your right to have. So why is it now all of a sudden, since, I guess because we spent a lot of money? Maybe because the government spent a little bit of taxpayer money on researching and funding some of the research that has given cures and treatments to certain diseases? Is that why you now think that you have a right to health care? Do you have a right to somebody else's knowledge? Do you have a right to somebody else's knowledge? Do you have a right to somebody else's abilities and their work? Does somebody have a right to your ability and to your work without you being justly compensated? Do they have a right to it? Whatever you do. Do homeowners have a right to a carpenter's knowledge and abilities without justly compensated? Hey, you're a carpenter. I have a right to have a house. I have a right to have a roof over my head. You've got to come fix my roof. No? Yeah, no, not even the most adamant of liberal would agree with that. Hey, you should have free food. There should be no grocery stores. They should all be food centers, owned by the government. I haven't heard any liberal, not even an ultra-liberal, who said that. But hey, do you need food more than you need medical care? Well, yeah, because you need food almost on a daily basis. You need food and water almost on a daily basis. Medical care, unless you're chronically ill, you don't need it on a daily basis. You don't. And until you do, there are some diseases like diabetes, which you have to take, and heart disease, high blood pressure, that you have to take care of yourself on a daily basis. But most people aren't born with that stuff. You get it over time, usually because of some of the choices that you made in your lifestyle. But I don't hear any ultra liberal saying that you should get free food. There should be no grocery stores. Government should disseminate and distribute food to everybody for free. But you don't think food and water is more of a right because you need it to live than health care? You don't need health care to live unless you've got some deadly disease. But everybody doesn't need help, but everybody needs food and water. And not even the most diehard of a liberal idiot would even say that, yeah, government should disseminate food to everybody because it's a right. Nobody says it's a right. Hell, in some liberal communities, you try to grow your own food and they come in and say you can't do it. You can't grow vegetable plants on your front lawn. It's got to be grass or shrubs or flowers. Well, how about edible flowers? Well, I guess if you're going to eat the flower, but you can't have kale and broccoli and tomatoes on your front lawn. But hell, we'll tell you what kind of medical care you'll have. Does anybody see how the stupidity, the hypocrisy, the inaccuracies, the inconsistencies with this liberal mindset? Why are you a liberal? And if you are a liberal, why don't you just volunteer your skills? And just rely on the generosity of the government and other liberals to keep you alive? Why not? If you're a liberal, why do you pursue a job that pays you six figures? Think you're worth it? Well, I don't know. I have some computers that need some fixing. And if I'm going to use the liberal mantra, well, I think I have a right to your talents to fix my computers without proper just compensation. Why? Because I need it. So why isn't all this other stuff? Why isn't the stuff that you do for your own livelihood, should that not be a part of the public domain, basically? What you're telling doctors and nurses and all other medical professions is that their study, their knowledge, all the money that they spend on education, all the time that they spend on education should be public domain now. Because you decided that everybody has a right to their knowledge. No questions asked, no just compensation, period. You don't find many liberals who think that way. Sure, you'll find some that believe in this whole communal thing, and we know the communal thing doesn't work. It never has worked. But, hey, and if you want to have some sort of security, national security, like holding people accountable to your laws so they don't break your laws, and so they're not out there coming across your borders illegally. For some reason, hey, this country is built by immigrants. Well, with that mindset, so is Mexico. And so is Canada. I don't hear anybody talking about them opening their borders. Hell, Britain was built, Britain wasn't built by immigrants, I guess. They were built by invaders. Britain was built by invaders. So I guess you could, that's a form of immigration. They've had the Germanic tribes invade them. They've had the Nordic tribes invade them. They've had the Normans invade them. The Anglo-Saxons. So that's how Britain was. So should Britain open their borders too? Hell, if you want to believe the story of mankind, well, everybody started off somewhere in North Africa or the Middle East. So everywhere is immigrant. They're all unless they're there in the Middle East. Everywhere else, they're immigrants. They had to get there. The Native Americans who were here first are immigrants. They walked over. So this whole notion is that we're a nation built by immigrants. Well, it's a bunch of BS. Every place is. So why is it that we're the only country that should have open borders and let in? Because nobody else, people don't want to go to most other countries willingly. They're not going to risk their lives getting, most countries in Africa do not have a real problem with illegal immigration because nobody wants to go to those countries. Why? Shouldn't we be worried about why those other countries are not built up enough to be able to support them? Why do we have to support the entire world? We can't do that. So why can other countries secure their borders but we can't? Why can other countries who are built by so-called built by immigrants be able to close off their borders but we can't? Because we're better than that. No, we're not. There's nothing wrong with it, so there's nothing to be better than that about. There's nothing wrong with being able to secure your borders. And you don't give away free stuff to people who break the law. So frankly, if you don't have open borders, but you want open borders, well, then why don't you change the laws to allow these? Well, that's immigration reform. No, that's not immigration reform. You don't need immigration reform. All you need to do is just change the immigration law. You don't need to give some people amnesty because that means you're going to have to do it all over again. Why not just change the immigration law that says we don't have borders? Anybody who wants to can legally come over the border. We no longer have illegal immigrants, so we don't need to have immigration reform. Why don't you just do that if you feel like that, huh? No? You don't think that'll work either? You liberals don't think that'll work either? Of course not.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
603-835-3226. Should you wish to utilize that number to call the show. Welcome back. And glad that you are here. One of the things that I've been working on this morning is as it pertains to this stupid repeal Obamacare stuff. Now Breitbart has an exclusive out there. Rand Paul says easily 35 no votes against Paul Ryan's Obamacare 2.0. And Senator Paul is predicting, and he did this yesterday afternoon, he expects Speaker Paul Ryan will be forced to pull the American Health Care Act bill before a scheduled vote tomorrow because Speaker Ryan will not get the votes to pass the legislation. Yeah. He was warned about this, by the way. He was told that this was bad stuff. I even heard it. It was on, you know what? He was told on Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity even said, Senator, a lot of people think that this is not, or a congressman, a lot of people, or Speaker, Mr. Speaker, a lot of people think that this is dead on arrival. It's not going anywhere. And Paul Ryan was adamant. This is what I said about, this falls back into line with what I said about Paul Ryan is a grand manipulator. The problem with being a grand manipulator is at some point you actually have to do stuff without trying to manipulate it, because people will see your manipulation eventually and put a stop to it. And I told you that Paul Ryan manipulated his way to the speakership. And I laid it out exactly why I thought so and how he got there. And once he got there, he made it seem like, well, geez, everybody wanted me. And since they wanted me, I get to do just about any damn thing I want. And this is what I want. I want this Obamacare Light or Obamacare 2.0. Well, you can't manipulate around that because the American people have said no, hell no, and definitely F no. So, guess what? It's not working out for him. And you had a few senators out there on the Republican side that were saying that this is not going to happen. Congressman, this is not going to happen. And yet he was still pushing it forward. And it's unbelievable, folks. I told you that you've got those people on the Republican side even that want to have big government, but their version of it. They don't want the Democrat version. They want the Republican version. That's not the conservative version, by the way. It's the Republican version. Can we once and for all let people know that there is a difference between conservatism and republicanism? There is a definite difference. And what we have is a Republican majority, not a conservative majority, in both houses. There is a huge difference. Now, yeah, Republicans, most of the time, Republicanism, most of the time, is better than Democrats, than liberalism, yes. But again, not all Democrats are liberal. Well, sure, there's the party politics thing, where, you know, even though you might not be a liberal, but because you're a Democrat, you got to stand with what the other Democrats want. Just like, you know, even though you might be a conservative, but you're still a Republican, so you go along when it actually comes down to vote, you go along with what other Republicans want because you're a Republican. That doesn't mean that if you're a Republican, you're a conservative, any more than it means that if you're a Democrat, you're a liberal. Would anybody ever say that John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, was a liberal? Well, maybe back in that day he was, but definitely not by today's standards. He was not a liberal. But he'd still probably be a Democrat if they let him be a Democrat, but he wouldn't be a liberal. So there is a difference. And we need to understand and separate that. Well, hey, they want to chop us up into smaller and smaller groups. How about we start chopping up the liberal left into a smaller group, into the small group that we all know that they actually are. And the same with the Republicans, not the conservatives, the Republicans, because the vast majority of Americans are conservative leaning. The vast majority of Americans really believe in smaller government and less taxation, so they get to keep more of their own money. Sure, most Americans want to help other people that truly, really need the help, but we don't want to be responsible for somebody's entire life, not when they have the capability of taking care of themselves. That's a conservative notion. You let people take care of themselves who can. Those who can't take care of themselves, and yes, you know, in society, I believe, like most conservatives, believe that there is something godly and Christian and Jewish about taking care of those people who truly cannot take care of themselves. Other than that, you know, hey, Jesus Christ himself said, you know, if you do not work, neither shall you eat. And he meant that any person capable of doing even the most modicum of a job should do that job, should work. If they did not work at doing whatever they possibly could do, then they should not be fed. They should not eat. Therefore, Christ was saying you don't have a right to somebody else's labor unless you are willing to produce even in your own limited capacity.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Bring the rain.
As I have said before, and this is going to continue on throughout the week. Well, first of all, you've got Judge Neil Gorsuch in his confirmation hearings, and I really don't want to spend too much time covering this because it's the liberals, the Democrats are just pitiful. I mean, the man really is a constitutional Boy Scout. They've got nothing on this guy. Absolute amazing. You know, Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to be president. Evidently he does, because he nominated somebody for the Supreme Court that they don't have anything on. He has nominated basically the equivalent of a constitutional Boy Scout. And he doesn't fall for he's a smart guy. He doesn't fall for their traps and their stupid. I'm like a senator. I can't answer that question. I don't get into politics, Senator. I love some of those answers. I don't get into That's right. He's going to be a Supreme Court justice. It has nothing to do, or should have nothing to do, with politics. He puts these idiots in their place. And you got some senators out there who are saying, well, you're an originalist. God forbid you have somebody that interprets the Constitution as the founders and people who wrote the Constitution intended it to be interpreted. They were just on display saying they don't like that idea. This is amazing stuff. No wonder they have to try so hard to try to impeach this guy, to delegitimize Trump, to slow down the installment of his cabinet. They have to do this because it is the only way that they can see to stop him. The problem is that they can't stop him. The only way they're going to stop him is take him out. And trust me, there are people that have taken out leaders in one of two ways. Either they've taken them out politically, like Nixon, or they've taken them out physically, like JFK. Now, I'm not saying our government was behind. The conspiracy was within our government behind JFK, but I have often said that I think LBJ knew something about the JFK assassination. I believe he knew something. And I will believe that to my dying day. I'm not saying that he authorized it, or that he was behind it, or he was directly involved in it, but I believe he had knowledge of it. I don't know, does that make LBJ a traitor? I don't know. It depends on what he knew and when he knew it. And if he actually believed that there was a clear and present danger and an imminent threat to the president's life at the time. And he did nothing. If he did nothing, then that's treacherous. If he knew that there was a clear and present and imminent danger to the president's life at the time, and he knew that this was going to happen, he did nothing, even though he wasn't involved in it, but he knew, that would be treacherous. Seditionist, at least. But there's currently no public evidence that LBJ knew or was involved. Let me be clear on that. There is no public evidence of. I believe that there probably is some evidence of collusion, probably not, but of knowledge, yes. I believe that someday we'll know. This is why they won't release everything. I mean, what are we, like 60 years on now? 55 years on? since that fateful day? And a lot of the records and a lot of the information is still classified. Why? Because there's something in there, in those reports, that our government doesn't want the general public to know. Again, I'm not being conspiratorial, as most people would view conspiracy theorists to be. I'm just basing it on logic and facts. You don't keep something hidden unless you want to hide something, unless there's something you feel needs to be hidden. Otherwise, especially this far out, why not just let it out? Look, this is what, because there are still people in power and in play today that will be affected by what happened back then. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out 50 years from now when everybody possibly who could have ever been involved, and probably their kids too at the time, when they were children at that time, are dead and gone. It's when the American public will probably finally get the historical truth on JFK. Just saying. But this is how these people operate, and this is how that they would plan on taking out Donald Trump. Now, am I saying is there a conspiracy against the president's very life? I don't know. There could be. I'm not suggesting that there is, and I'm not suggesting there isn't. I'm suggesting the president needs to watch his back, and I don't think Donald Trump is so stupid and naive as to not be. He's not doing that. But these people will do anything they possibly can to stop him. Just look at what they're doing already. They're willing to shoot themselves in the foot in order to shoot him. Of course, that's figurative. You know, people out there, some people they'll take it the wrong. Rod just said that they're out there trying to shoot President Trump. No, figuratively speaking. And I can't believe I have to point that out, but you do, because you got some, liberals are all about the headlines. They don't read into the story. You could have a very misleading story, a misleading headline, and then you read the story and find out the story does not match the headline at all. But what does everybody do on the left? They go out and they repeat the headline. Oh, I've seen it over and over again. And they even use it as a fact. Well, hey, Rod, how about this story? Remember this story? And they give the headline. I said, did you actually read that story? Because I did. And the headline doesn't match the story. Did you read the story? I didn't have to read the story. The headline says it all. No, the headline doesn't say it all. The headline lied. The headline was sensationalized so you would read it, but evidently you guys are too stupid and too inane to even read it after a sensational headline is enticing you to read it. Just amazing stuff, folks. Amazing stuff. Unbelievable. Los Angeles mayor, by the way, expands immigrant protection. What immigrant protections? If you're a legal immigrant, you've already got what expansion of immigrant protections do you need? Directives in Los Angeles applies existing LAPD policies to other city agencies. So in other words, the mayor, Eric Garcetti, is saying, hey, if any of the city departments come across an illegal alien, an illegal immigrant, well, they got to follow the path of the LAPD, not report it, not detain them, not hold them up for deportation or anything like that. Don't kick them out. You give them everything that they're asking for at the expense of legal citizens, and we'll call it a day. And we'll feel all warm and fuzzy over it. Just warm and fuzzy. Oh, I just feel so warm and fuzzy helping. Oh, look at those poor innocent children. They can't help. The dreamers? They can't help it. Their parents brought them here illegally. And now you want to separate families? Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to be warm and fuzzy and just give them great big hugs. And we're going to love them and stroke them and pet them and call them George. Send them back. And anybody who gets in the way of the government doing their job, well, they're obstructing justice, an arrestable and jailable offense. They need to be arrested, they need to be charged, they need to be tried, and if convicted, they need to go to jail. I don't care who they are. If it's a regular, ordinary citizen who isn't an elected official, they go to jail. An elected official should go to jail because they're the ones that should be upholding the law even more than a regular citizen. Because that's what they're elected to do. That is the oath of office that they take. The mayor of Los Angeles should be arrested and charged with a crime. That goes for every freaking mayor out there and city councilman and town manager or city manager out there who does this kind of bullshit. You're breaking the freaking law, and they need to be punished, and Donald Trump needs to go out there and start making examples of these people. Yeah, forget cutting off the funds. Just start arresting their asses and then charging them with crimes, putting them on trial, and if convicted, they go directly to jail. Because each and every one of us who is not an elected official would have already been jailed. They do not get special treatment. I am sick and tired of elected officials thinking that they're so damn special that they should get special treatment. Yes, they should. In fact, the law should be more harsh on them because they're the ones who actually take the oath of office to uphold the laws and the Constitution of the land. And they're the ones who are supposed to know it, you know, back and forth, upwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and upside down and ups and right side up. They should know it better than the rest of us because they're taking an oath to protect it and uphold it. They're the ones that know for damn sure what they're doing and if they're breaking the law or not. And they're the ones out there creating new laws that the rest of us have to follow. So these corrupt bastards get away with breaking the laws that they put in place, and then if we do it, we go directly to jail. We do not pass go. We do not collect $200. In fact, they fine us $200,000 and say, well, you don't get out of jail until you pay it. Well, it's about time that we force these people to live up to the laws that they pass on the rest of us. The mayor of Los Angeles, yes, I'm directly calling for the arrest of the mayor of Los Angeles because he's breaking the law. As I know the law, he's breaking it. You do not do, and anybody else who follows the mayor's edict should also be arrested, be tried, or be charged and tried, and if convicted, go to jail. Don't hide behind this whole, look, even in the military, there is legal precedent for a person to disobey a senior commander's order. If the order is immoral or illegal, then you are expected to disobey that order. Because if you don't, not only is a person giving you the order in trouble, but so are you for following it and carrying it out. So you don't get away with, well, the mayor told me to do it. Sorry, it's about time that we, the people, stand up to our elected officials and tell them, you're not special. You don't get special treatment. Now, I know we can't, as regular citizens, we just can't go up and start arresting and charging, public officials. But you know what we can do? You can sue them. I know it's very difficult to sue because you'll find some judge that says you don't have standing, which is a bunch of bullshit. There's no such thing as that anyway. It was a legal maneuver that came about a few decades ago to keep people from being able to sue the very government, which was not constitutional, by the way. Not constitutional. So you have this wonderful mayor out in L.A., which is in California, restricted city employees from cooperating with federal immigration officials and instructed police at the ports and airports to refrain from investigating a person's immigration status. Again, if the law says he doesn't get to rule by fiat and edict, if the law says this is what they're supposed to do, then they have to follow the law. Because if they don't, then they're breaking the law. And in the least that should happen to them, if it's not an arrestable offense, it is a fireable offense. They should no longer have a job. The directive expands to other city agencies the existing policies of the Los Angeles Police Department, which since 1979 has prohibited officers from determining immigration status. Since 2014, the LAPD has also refused to honor requests from the federal immigration officials to detain illegal immigrants arrested for nonviolent crimes. Constitution says that the President of the United States, the federal government, is the purveyor of keeping our borders safe, keeping the nation safe. An illegal immigrant is considered a foreign invader. That's exactly what they are. They're an invader. I'm sorry, you are. If you get here illegally, you come here, you cross our borders illegally, you've invaded our sovereignty. You are an invader. And frankly, I think we should start treating him as such. Because there are millions of people that have come across the borders legally over the past decades that have waited their turn, who have followed the law, who followed the rules, who came here legally, and now they're contributing very well to American society. It's unfair to them. You want to talk about fairness? How about being fair to the legal immigrants? And it's not racist to want to protect your borders. Only the stupid don't protect their borders. That's plain and simple. Only the stupid. Only the stupid.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Speaking of border security, now we have states out there that are, not multiple states, just one. You have California The U.S.-Mexico border wall fight. California considers divesting from companies involved in the wall project. That would be a mistake on the state of California's. I guess. Look, you guys are financially in trouble as it is. The 3 California Democrats have a warning for contractors who sign up for President Donald Trump's border wall construction project between the U.S. and Mexico. Build it and we will divest from your company, they say. Here's the deal. This is a wall that could cost the entire wall over the next decade is what they're saying it could take to build the whole thing, is worth billions of dollars. Do you think most businesses, big and small, are going to ignore billions of dollars? I wouldn't. I'd say, you know what? Go screw. By the time the wall is done, I think you'll have a change in heart, and we'll still be able to do business. In the latest act of resistance against the Trump administration, state lawmakers have introduced a bill that would force the state to drop its pension investments in any companies involved in the project. So you're going to harm, now understand this, folks. You're going to harm your pension system and your pensioners, people who receive money from this pension. You're going to harm them just so you can make a political point about protecting the American citizen from illegal immigrant invasion and other, not just the people looking for an opportunity at a better life by getting a job and stealing somebody's identity to get a job here. We're talking about criminals and people who are intent and bent on harming the citizenry and the way of life in this country. That's what we're talking about here. We know we've caught terrorists and potential terrorists crossing the border. So it leaves us to wonder how many actually got through. Isn't that terrible? We don't know. This is a wall of shame, and we don't want any part of it. So walls all over the country. Hungary's got a wall. Israel's got a wall. Egypt's got a wall. Saudi Arabia's building a wall. Armenia has a wall. There are walls all over the place. But we'd have the only wall of shame. There are border walls all over the world. But, Berlin had a wall. You guys like that wall. Remember, you liberals like that wall. They did. So the Assembly Bill 946 would require the California Public Employee Retirement System and the California State Teachers Retirement System, the two largest public pension funds in the nation, with investments of $312 billion and $202 billion, respectively, to liquidate their investments from companies that do business with Trump in building the wall. Yeah. Interesting, yes? So I guess if you actually do something that's good for the country, the state of California and various small little liberal cities want to punish you for doing good. Now, who are the traitors in this? I'm just asking. Who are traitors? I don't know. You got to ask that question. Lots of people. It is what it is, folks. Let me tell you. What to look out for today? Yeah, they're going to continue talking about the healthcare bill, and you're going to continue hearing the talking heads talk about how we need to have tax credits and the like. You just got more government interference instead of just completely repealing the bill and just leaving it alone. You won't hear that. You hear, well, maybe from Levin, but the rest of the stuff, pretty typical. Same old, same old. Not same old tomorrow. We'll be back in about 21 hours. Thanks for tuning in and listening today. I'm Rod Eccles. Have a wonderful hump day afternoon. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.